for the stars of Star Wars!
Hi, everybody. Hi. You all having a good one? Yeah. Nice to be here.
Oh, it's quiet. I feel like we're in trouble.
Yeah.
Are we just taking questions here? Is this what, are we just taking,
How
how
you
are we
doing?
doing this?
Good.
Are we taking questions or what?
So if you want, you guys can spitball and,
Yeah.
do some introductions, and then we can open it up for questions or things like that. It's
Okay,
up
what
to
do you guys want?
Spitball.
Spitball, like really like throw them and.
Somebody give me a straw.
Um,
Sweet, thanks, appreciate it.
Yeah.
Hi, guys. All right. First of all, super stoked to see so many people here. It's really, really awesome. Without you, there would be no us for a job. So it's literally we were on. Yeah, I'd be shocked how many times people are like, "Oh, you're so nice." I was like, I don't understand the statement. And they're like, "Well, sometimes people aren't so nice." I was like, that's not. That doesn't seem like rocket science to me. I was like, you guys, I'm a fan myself, of this stuff, which is part of the reason, like, I would be coming to a convention anyway, let alone being on this side or that side of the booth. So, meeting nice fans and just, talking about certain lores of different genres and stuff, it's a blast. So, yeah, super stoked to be here.
What's your name?
I don't remember.
Tell them.
Yes, Dorian Kingi, by the way, thank you. And, yeah. And funny enough, we've worked on the same shows, but not at the same time. And that's definitely slightly disappointing, but hopefully in the near future, we will get a chance to cross over with each other. And then what about you? Who are you?
My name is Barry Lowen, and yeah, Dory and I have worked on the same shows, not at the same time. So we've actually gotten to know each other more here than we have on set, which happens a lot. We shoot on all of these shows. They're not always shot in any sort of order. So often you could work with, so many different people at so many different times, and so much of it happens out of order. So we don't really always know what's going on in a day. They just tell us where to go and what to do. But yeah, hopefully we'll get to do some more in the future.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't know, I could jump in with just my background in terms of being in creature work was back in 2001. It's a movie called The Time Machine with Guy Pearce. And yeah, so, and there was this guy that said, "Hey, are you claustrophobic?" I said, "No." I was like, "You want to do creature work?" I go, "Sure. What do I do?" He's like, "There's this actor named Doug Jones. You would be a good double for him." I said, "Cool, who's that?" I was like, "Hocus Pocus, that guy, oh my God," all that other stuff. So I came to do creature work through that particular thing, because I've been doing like stunts and acting since I was like 11 years old, doing kid stunts, and then just progressed into that, and then jumped over into the creature work. I was like, this is fun and cool, and we're tall, skinny skeletons that you could put stuff on and it'd be totally different. And it just evolved into that for me, and it was just so cool because, being a fan myself of having like a Venom skateboard, and then being able to do motion capture for Venom, or, same thing with having comic books for Silver Surfer. When Doug Jones played the Silver Surfer, I got to be his double for that and do the wire work. And I was like, oh, and I was bringing comic books to set. And I was just like, we could do this, this, and this. They're like, yeah, he might not be on a board. I was like, that's it, I'm out. I couldn't even do it. And so it was cool. I think over time, people were like, no, he's a fan, like who cares? I don't know everything, obviously. There's so much to know about so many different genres. But, I truly am a fan and would like to, appreciate what I would want to see and just fulfill that when I get to be the guy in the suit. So this was definitely an awesome one for Cad Bane. I've been wanting to do a Western and or something Star Wars my entire career, and I've never been able to do it until now. So that was like the coolest serendipitous moment for me at that point. Yes, exactly. I got 2 in 1, which was great. It was so fantastic. And I've been able to quick draw since I was like 9 years old. Seriously, they're like, we have to teach you to use guns. I was like this. And they're like, oh my gosh. And I was like, no, I've been waiting for this moment my whole life. So it kind of worked itself out in that way for me. So I hope I get to do more Star Wars stuff. It's a cool genre, great people. Favreau and Filoni are just fans themselves, so it makes it that much easier to do stuff.
Sure. No, I don't actually. Yeah, what's kind of great, I think, for both of us, we actually really care about what we do, and I would like to say we're real people. So it's really exciting, and to be able to go and work on these shows, and to be like happy to be there and grateful to be there. I am originally from Louisiana. I grew up in a small town, and thankfully there was a really amazing gymnastics gym there. So I grew up as a gymnast. I went to, if anyone's actually a fan of the Tennessee Vols, I'm sorry, I went to LSU.
So close.
I know, so close. I know, I did not go here. But I went to college for theater, and so like kind of a theater background in gymnastics has led me into like a lot of suit work and physical movement acting also. So it's kind of, someone asked me the other day, like, how did you end up here? And it's like, I don't really know, but there's definitely there's a lot of steps that come before just like falling into something like this. So it's not even falling into it like Dorian said, it's like you've somehow acquired all these skills that just happen to be the right skills at the right moment. And with a lot of hard work and definitely some luck, you get to, step into something that you're ready for. Yeah.
You guys have any specific questions about the shows and stuff?
Except for you, Jim, obviously. You said you like Tennessee and...
Auburn.
Oh.
Yeah, you hate
Go for it, yeah.
Sorry. So who are you in awe of? Who have you met that you just get almost intimidated by being in their presence?
For me, the first one was Carl Weathers. So there was a scene where I was in a scene with Carl and Gina and Horatio Sands, and we're like just they had this set where we were like 12 feet up, and this I'm not gonna call it the right thing, and everyone's gonna scream at me. So we were all sitting in this ship, and we were doing lines, and every time we do lines, Carl and I had not known each other very long, so eventually I was really nervous to do this scene with Carl, and then he's like, "You're really good at this. Have you done this before?" And I'm like, "No, Carl, I've never done this." So that was helpful. That he's a really kind person, but I was very nervous to meet him and work with him. Yeah. It's like Carl Weathers.
I think in regards to the Star Wars universe for myself, I think it was Favreau, because 2020 had just hit, and I had only a couple months in had got a call from Legacy Effects, which was the company that makes a lot of the suits and stuff, that makes the Mando suits and all different kinds of prosthetics and awesome things from like Predator to Aliens and all that stuff. So they said, hey, you might be getting a call for something we're doing with Disney Plus. I was like, cool. And they said, it might be a Zoom call with Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni. And I go, okay, sounds good. And at the time, and the world was going nuts, and I'm like, great, I got like one of the biggest Zoom calls of my career I have to deal with. And I was talking to my fiance about it, and I was like, hey, don't let me say something stupid. I was trying to do it, so I was sitting there, and me and my daughter have been watching Favreau's cooking show that's on Netflix, where he travels around and does cooking. So I like and appreciate his progression of his career so much, and just all the facets of him being an actor, to a writer, to a producer, to a director, to having his own cooking show because he loves food. I think that was really awesome and nervous, and they were super cool. They were so nice. They were just asking legitimate questions. Super, nice human being. So that was my kind of freak out one.
I was going to ask, how was it to film in the volume? I mean, that's such a new type of set. How was it to film in the volume?
Yeah, the volume is pretty nuts, and what's amazing about it is they can turn that into anything they want. Like if we were all in there now, we could go through 20 worlds in 20 seconds. And it's so precise that sometimes I would go to reach for something or sit on something that wasn't real. And it just it all looks really real. And so as an actor, it helps because you don't have to imagine what's there. And they use that to just enhance the set. You know, they don't use that in place of the set. The set design is insane. Every little detail that gets put into it. So adding the volume to that makes it like you're really stepping into this other world. And then when like I'm sure some of you saw when the camera kind of focuses on a certain part of the volume, that part of the volume becomes 3D. So then it's really as if you're there, and which is really crazy to see it happen because you can watch the camera pan, and as it's panning through the walls of the volume, what it hits literally comes out of the wall. So it's pretty nuts. And then when we're filming things that are like flying through space, some of the crew will get sick. Like some people get sick with the stars moving and everything moving in the galaxy. But, so people would have to leave if they couldn't take it. But the volume is kind of a game changer. You know? Yeah.
I haven't been able to work in it yet. I know, I'm bummed out. I was so bummed. I was like, how can they work in the volume? You're like, no, you're outside. No, you're on the side. I was like, I'm still stoked to be here, but there's a little bit, yeah.
It'll happen.
Yeah, it'll happen, someday. Yeah.
I have a question. Were you really kind of nervous about taking on the role of Cave Bean because of, you know, everybody's love of him from the animation?
Absolutely, I did not. You know, as a fan, like you said, for myself, for other characters, and then knowing what that means to somebody to be like, oh, you're going to try to do this one. Let's see how this works out. I definitely took it, you know, very seriously. We did a first full, a show and tell. Wasn't even supposed to work that day, but did the whole mask and the whole wardrobe, and every head of the department was there. And they were shooting another scene at the time, and I went to go meet all the heads of everybody with Favreau and Filoni on set, and it was literally just to tweak, see how you're doing. Ooh, I like the hat, or I don't like this. Oh, that looks great, and they were super stoked about it. And then at that point, that's when I was getting some tips from Filoni about, you know, hey, I really want you to, you know, emulate me being Cleef and the backstory of this kind of spaghetti western feel. And then I already knew about his character as well, and then I had to go do some other stuff. But when he said, he's like, yeah, you're gonna do great. This is like one of my favorite characters. I was like, oh great, no pressure. That's awesome. So good. But I really wanted to, you know, emulate that stuff. But funny enough, I felt like it was meant to be because I've already been, like I said, training for this character my whole life without even knowing that was going to be it. So I was really glad to hear, you know, a lot of fans were just like, oh man, you nailed the movement or this and that. And I was like, that's so cool and really inspiring for me to know that I did do a good job. But I do take it seriously. I don't go willy-nilly, if you will.
Thank
I
you.
saw a hand kind of over that way. Yes.
Me?
Yeah.
I got, not questions, but a couple requests. Is that okay?
We'll have to see what the request
Yeah.
is. It's debatable.
Could you like say a couple things like in Cat Bane's voice, like first one, you eat your last haul, and Cat Bane's voice?
Well, I wouldn't be able to do it justice because Corey Burton actually is the voice from the Clone Wars. So coming into that, I had to learn all the dialogue, you know, and I am the physical actor, you know what I mean? And then he is the voice actor.
Oh.
And as that, you know, the respect that, you know, the main heads have, Filoni and Favreau, they know, you know, hey, we can't not have Corey back as the voice. You know, you can get somebody in the body to do with it, but the fans will lose their mind, you know? It would be bad. I don't know how close you could get it. I mean, I would stay up late, actually, and I would have to wake up early for all the prosthetics, and I had morning voice, but I would not talk on purpose until we had to do the scenes, so I could try to create the most illusion at the time, which would help with the cadence of the way that he sounded. And it actually kind of worked to where it was, you know, it wasn't exactly him, but it was close enough to where it made that gelling go. And I respect Corey for sure. I can't wait to meet him. We have not been able to meet yet, but you know, he complimented me and I super compliment him. So hopefully that'll happen down the road. Sorry, that wasn't the answer you were looking for.
A lot of actors in this world are someone is acting the role and someone is voicing the role. That's pretty regular in this show.
Yeah.
Yes.
For the second request, could you wish my brother a happy birthday? He's a Cat Bane fan.
That's right. Happy birthday. And what is your brother's name again?
Luke.
Luke. Obviously, I should know. Sorry, Luke. Don't do anything to me, please.
Yes.
In this question of mine,
Yeah.
my son wants to know what's your favorite of the Star Wars motion picture canon, 1 through 9? I like Rogue One and Solo, the two most favorite.
You go.
This is one you just put you on the spot, like.
Well, I don't know. I mean, what I would call the original 3 is what I was brought up on. You know what I mean? That's where my brain, I'm sure most of the people that are my age appreciate that, and coming from that world, you know, I mean, it was something that nobody ever seen before. So I think those first 3 are just out of this world, from dealing with, you know, speed bikes to Jawas to, you know what I mean, everything else. I think those are just seared in my brain, like period.
It's so much of it is what your first exposure to it, and that's like kind of what you attach to.
Yeah. That's the way to put it.
My question is, that sometimes you read that actors take things from the set,
Yeah.
like to kind of keep for a
Yeah,
souvenir.
no, never
Like-
happens. Because we both want to keep working. No, no, I'm not kidding. Like, everything on that set is so locked down, and there's literally security walking around, like props are monitored, costumes are monitored, everything is checked in and out. Like, as soon as I take off a helmet, it's taken from me and placed in a bag. Yeah, there is no, on that show, you're not walking out with anything. I mean, unless you're just like, hey, I don't ever need to work again. You know, Disney doesn't own everything, you know, so like, if you really wanted to like end your career, then sure, I'd take a helmet, maybe Grogu, and I'm done.
Some people are not even allowed to touch Grogu. I mean, literally, there was a buddy of mine that was one of the Black Stormtroopers when they take him off, right, and they zoom up, and they went and they just picked, there was however many there were, and he's like, and you can be the one to grab it, and he's like, ha ha, and he's like, everybody else, do not touch the baby. And we're all like, but it's literally that serious. Like, they were very, very particular.
Yeah, I mean, there's literally someone there to be like, you know, if we take out our phones, I was filming a few weeks ago, and it's like, I was using my phone actually to see what I looked like rehearsing, and someone came up to me and was like, hey, you can't use your own phone, like right now, you know? It's like, and then someone has to maybe okay it, you know, so there's a lot of security to make sure there are no leaks or things taken. Yeah. Let's go yeah, sure, go for it.
I'm just curious, between the two of you, which one is quicker on the draw?
Between the two of us? Of course it's him. I haven't been doing it since I was 7.
However, I would not go up against Brendan, right, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, because he's John Wayne's great man.
Yeah. I wouldn't go up against either of them. So.
What about somebody in the back?
Way back on, who's this person? Okay, yeah.
Both of your roles involve a lot of time in suits and heavy facial coverings. What do you think is your favorite memory while inside that suit? Like, just being out there.
In any suit?
In the suit, while we're completely made up.
That's a good question.
The first thing that popped into my head, which I've said this before, is I ripped my pants multiple times. So one great memory was Mike Manziel from Legacy Effects, me having to lay on a table like this while we were filming outside so he could stitch up the crotch of my pants. I ripped them. And that was because there was really no way to get out of the suit. So they just stitched me up.
That's awesome. I think it's a good question, sorry. There's just a couple of different ones where I'm so, like, it's the kind of the corny term, but I am super grateful for the characters I have been able to play from being a fan as a kid to do some stuff. I think one of them was the reboot of Robocop. when Joel Kinnaman was, you know, the actor with it, but then I was like the movement guy, and I was on the posters, whether you like that or not. That got awkward. And you know, a lot of the fight scenes. There was a motorcycle guy as well that did the motorcycle stunts. But I think for me, like being in there's one training sequence that Robocop does in this place called the Hearn in Toronto, Canada, and it's this massive warehouse. It's probably like the size of this auditorium, but it's just really cool, and it's where he has to fight all these other robots for his training sequence. And there was another guy that's kind of like a movement choreographer, but he was helping the other the other stunt guys that were doing it, because he wasn't really helping us too much, because it's kind of my thing. But I went through, and it was probably, I'm trying to remember, it was got to be like a 65 move fight scene that they shot all at one time. And going through it, having to memorize all this stuff and do my thing, and then having somebody that's in that world, the movement guy, come up and be like, wow, I admire your work. And I was just like, thanks, dude. Like, just for me, just being that thing, like being able to be a character that you've played so much, like, you know, in your backyard or at your friend's house or in the basement, and then like actually going out there and doing it and just like owning it. I was so freaked out, but then I was like, why am I freaking out? Like, they hired me for a reason, right? So you should just go do it. And I go, okay. And I was having this like full-on conversation with myself. But then after I did it, I tried to enjoy it, and it was the first time in my career till then that I think it was in 2014, that I actually like enjoyed it, and was just like, in my head I was like, bing, pow, like, and it just, but then it helped me memorize the movement, and so that was just so like self-gratifying in that moment for me. It's funny.
I think for both of us, a lot of times we get in these costumes and these suits, and they're, you know, then people forget we're human. And it's like, hey, you can stay in that for 18 hours. And yeah, if you could run 100 yards like 27 times, and if you could just keep, you know, sometimes we have to actually remind people, like, I could use some water, maybe a towel, you know.
Bathroom breaks.
Yeah, bathroom breaks.
Ibuprofen, please.
That's true.
Yeah.
There's a guy, a person in a hat in the back. Yeah, you, yes, sir.
When you were growing up, who would you say your favorite Star Wars character was?
Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, probably at the time I would have said Darth Vader, because my dad used to wake me up as Darth Vader. He would like come, like he'd be like, this is your father. Yeah, it's great. No nightmares. Yeah. Yeah, what you got?
Yeah, so how long would it take for each of you guys to be suited up, and then what was the visibility like in each of your?
Yeah, well, he can, Dorian go first. He had prosthetics, which that's a whole other.
Yeah, so for this particular one, since it was, you know, just a head, because usually it's already depending on what you're wearing as well, you know, it could be like spray painting for your arms. But it was about 3 hours and change for that, because there were multiple foam latex pieces that were glued to my face. And then once they glued them on, then they had to go and spray paint and do paint touch-ups for them, because they were pre-painted a little bit, but then they had a whole other paint process on top of that they had to do and just finalize all those bits. For that particular thing, the rest of the hands were like, they were gloves that were put on, and then the rest of the thing was just normal kind of wardrobe clothing.
You had contacts, didn't you?
They were like, kind of like sunglass lenses that were put in and out as needed, but when they were out, and I'd walk to set and we'd talk about the scene, and then before, depending on the shot, the close-ups, the lenses came in and they were not see-through at all. They were not translucent. They were just, I went in, I was like, cool, hey guys, when these are in, I'm blind. They're like, okay, well, you're not gonna walk in this one. I'm like, okay, we'll see what you get. And then sure enough, but I just had to do kind of like a muscle memory thing, or if I was off a little bit, when I talk to somebody and they go this way, they're like, oh, a little too far to the right. I was like, oh, left, there. Okay, great, with a little earwig in. And then for the more action bits, they had another set of lenses that they drilled little holes in, and then they CG'd over that to make those red. But outside of that, there was no other additional CGI, and there were no animatronics either. So that was a really cool thing that Legacy was able to pull off. They did a great job for that.
Yeah, I think that if they can, anytime they can, whether it's a set or a costume piece or makeup. Like CGI and green screen is like a last resort if there's not a way to make it real first. And then also to your question, and my visibility in the helmet is like, it's not bad at all. It's at first when you just put it on, but then there's smoke, there's fog, there's a lot of other elements that come into it. And you know, I told someone this today, like Arnold Schwarzenegger did an interview when talking about the Terminator, where you know, you realize there's certain things you would never do. Like you would never look down, you would never look, you know, you would never look over your shoulder. So you learn that you can only move your head a certain amount. And even though it works for the camera, you probably really cannot see where you're going or what you're doing. In the second season, I was doing a scene where I walked into the bar to meet Amy Sedaris, and I was like carrying this thing on my shoulders and I had to go down 5 stairs in the dark that were sandy, and they're like, hey, we really only have time to do 1 take, so if you could get this in 1 take, that would be yeah, it's the last shot of the day and everybody's ready to go, and it's like, can I walk it once? Like, can I count the steps? Is that cool with everybody? So yeah, because I wasn't able to like look down at my feet with this massive thing, and you know, and those are the moments too where you go like, and I guess I should say maybe hopefully a credit to both of us is that we are good at what we do, so people forget that we need a little practice sometimes, yeah. But the visibility is really tricky.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And even like I'm sure when you wear your hood as well, is that your breath, depending on the environment,
Yeah.
if it's hot or cold, now you're fogging it up.
Yeah.
And they're like, let's put anti-fog. I was like, that stuff does not work. I don't
Yeah.
care what you say.
No, it doesn't.
Spray it on, it works for like a take, and then it's done.
Yeah.
Yeah. But nice work on your outfit, by the way.
Yeah,
Yeah.
great. Yeah.